give us a sense of your process. What will you do in the coming days and coming months before you decide what it is you want to do for your next path?
I'm going to get home and relax. I'm going to clear out my head and get healthy from the bumps and bruises from the season. And just, I got a lot of gratitude right now. I'm going to enjoy this tonight. But once I get back out west, I'm going to, take my time, and I'm not going to hold anybody up. I'm going to have conversations tomorrow with everybody here with the Jets and see what they're thinking, and then make a decision before it gets too late in the offseason.
Is Rodgers out of the NFL? Let's talk about it on the Sportscast here with your host, Brian. I've talked a little bit about it before. Aaron Rodgers, and there's been some developing news. We talked about him maybe going to Minnesota, maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers. Has had conversations with the New York Giants. And Minnesota came out this week and basically said, we're good, Aaron Rodgers. Thank you, but no thank you. We are moving on.
Bye, Felicia.
With J.J. McCarthy, who they drafted last year, who ended up tearing his ACL. And I think they lucked into Donald being their starting guy and playing really good. But at the end of the day, they had a good season, 14-3, and folded in the playoffs. Now, I would have loved to see Aaron Rodgers go to Minnesota. First of all, you look at what Brett Favre did. He went from Green Bay to the Jets, and then he goes to Minnesota. And at the end of the day, it would have been funny to have Aaron Rodgers do that same trajectory, go from the Green Bay to the Jets, and then go back or go to Minnesota. Now, it would be funny to see it. It would have been poetry in motion. You couldn't write a better script. I would have loved to face him twice a year. The drama, everything that goes into it, would have loved it. All right. And maybe he would have beat us, maybe not. We won't find out now that Minnesota's saying, hey, thanks, Rodgers. No thanks. We're moving on. And I really thought that team gave him the best chance to win. You've got the defense that came out of nowhere last year. They played really good. You've got the best wide receiver crew, one of the best in the league. If you're stepping into a position, the quarterback, you have a really good wide receiver group, and then you've got familiarity with your running back, right? Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones know each other well. They played their best football together in Green Bay. And you would think that would help them out, right? Familiarity. But Minnesota said, no, I'm good. We're going on with J.J. McCarthy. So where does that leave it, right? Where does that leave Aaron Rodgers? Because honestly, I don't think the New York Giants are the answer, right? He's not going to the New York Giants to just survive another season. He wants to go to a team that gives him the best chance to win, to give him the best chance to make a deep playoff run. I think he wants at least one more of those before he ends his career. I told the wife that I don't think his ego is going to allow him to go out as bad as he was, tearing his Achilles, and last season didn't go so well for him. Figuratively speaking, we're about to get into the stats and talk about that for Aaron Rodgers and why I think he might have one more year left in him. But I knew he was coming back from the Achilles. Just didn't think he was going to go out like that. It didn't go well there in New York. The team didn't perform well. They just didn't. And that team is, talked about it before, the ownership's terrible. It's a toxic organization, and no one's going to be able to turn the New York Jets around. So where does this leave Aaron Rodgers? Now, we know the Pittsburgh Steelers have been communicating with him, and
catch him with 12 on the field, but the Steelers got a timeout.
Too many men on the field. First charge, timeout. Pittsburgh, 30 seconds.
It's funny because I was looking at Todd Downing, the offensive coordinator, and he wasn't saying anything.
Between them and Russell Wilson, we saw what Russell Wilson gave the Pittsburgh Steelers. It wasn't enough. It was actually a choke job down the end to lose the division, and they skimmed their way into the playoffs, and we saw how that ended. It wasn't good enough. Now, am I going to sit here and tell you that Aaron Rodgers will take them further than that, maybe a Super Bowl? No, but I think it's worth a shot. All right? Let's look at the numbers. Let's dive into the numbers of Aaron Rodgers last year. He had 3,897 yards passing. That was 8th in the yards in the NFL. Top 10 yards in the NFL. 28 touchdowns. That's 6th. That's way better than I thought it would be. That's number 6 in the NFL, tied with Josh Allen, the MVP. Okay. He had 11 interceptions. That was probably middle of the pack there. So I don't think that's as bad as people are saying. People are like, oh, he's washed, he's done. That's still top 10 in two of the most important categories in the NFL. I think he's got another run in him. I think he's got another year in him. They're hoping, the Jets were hoping that he was the Aaron Rodgers from Green Bay. He wasn't. Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers with Aaron Rodgers here, it kind of looks pretty cool here in the background, in a Pittsburgh Steelers jersey. Will they pull the trigger? Because right now all you have is Mason Rudolph. There's not been much talks with Russell Wilson. He went to talk with the Cleveland Browns. But to me, you know what you had in Russell Wilson. You know it wasn't good enough. Are you signing up for that again, or you want to take a risk and put your chips in on the table because you're not going to win it with Russell Wilson, and you might not win it with Rodgers, but at least you say you give it a shot. This team is just the Pittsburgh Steelers have had trouble finding a quarterback since it's been Roethlisberger, and Russell Wilson's just stopgap, and Aaron Rodgers would be too. But I think Aaron Rodgers, you put him with the wide receivers of Metcalf, of Pickens, and a young gun there in Austin with a good defense, and they're going to draft a running back. I believe they're going to draft a running back because they let, their best running back go, and he goes to the Chargers. But this draft is really heavy in running back position. So I believe they'll draft one and play running back by committee, which can be done in the NFL. They went out and get Cordell Patterson as kind of a weapon that they can use in the backfield and the return punts. And the Pittsburgh Steelers got a team around them. It's just missing the quarterback position. So I truly believe he will be a Pittsburgh Steeler since Minnesota said they're not interested. Now, report did come out and say it's Minnesota or bust for Rodgers, that Rodgers is going either Minnesota or he's going to retire. Now, who knows? Maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers has told him we're not interested. Maybe they're not willing to pay him the amount of money he's wanting, but his options are running out. Okay. The NFL, maybe they don't want him. Maybe the NFL says, "Hey, I'm good. We've seen enough of you. You come with a lot of drama. You come with a lot of you come with a lot of baggage and stuff that we've got to answer questions for." When they're asking the Jets, why is Rodgers not at mandatory minicamp? How well does he get along with the guys in the locker room? Hayward already came out from Pittsburgh and said, I don't need no darkness retreat. Either you want to be here or you don't. So there's, already hot topics going on there about Aaron Rodgers, but so we'll see where he falls. I don't know how you guys feel about Aaron Rodgers. He was my quarterback for a long time. He's a legend in Green Bay. I understand he's really easy to hate. I think he's the back end of his career in Green Bay. I think he cost us some chances at Super Bowls. But it's weird because he's also the reason we were good enough to be as competitive as we were. I think he held us hostage a little bit. But at the end of the day, he is a quarterback legend in Green Bay, and we will retire his number, and he will be a Hall of Famer, and he's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. Personally, to me, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Packers fan, but he's never seen a quarterback throw the ball better than him. His touchdown interception ratio is the best in the NFL history, and no one will break that, in my opinion. But I just think he's got one more year. You look at the stats, go look at the numbers from last season, top 10 in two very important parts of the game. Adam with a good defense, with a good offensive line, and those wide receivers, I really think he's got a chance. So, guys, let me know if I'm crazy. Let me know what you think. I still believe that Aaron Rodgers got one more year, but NFL might not put up with his shenanigans and divaness with his age and everything that comes with it. Is Rodgers completely out of the NFL? All right, guys, let me know what you think. God bless, and Roger out.